to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, back on the program with Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg, our bro, representing Brooklyn District 36, running for New York City Council, Ossé. What's up, sir?
What up, what up, what up? Thanks for having me back.
Of course, man. Good to see you again. Listen, District 36 is what area specifically?
Yeah, the 36th district of Brooklyn is Bed-Stuy and North Crown Heights. I grew up in this neighborhood. I know a lot of y'all listening definitely live in this neighborhood, and I'm running to represent you guys.
You are 21 now? 20.
23.
23.
I'm getting up there. I'm getting up there.
Yo, man, I know you since you was a kid, but what do people say when they meet you? I saw a little coverage. I think you posted on your Instagram. CNN was talking about activists and protesters who are now moving into politics. You've been somebody that's been outside supporting activists, an activist yourself, but young, and you're moving into politics. What are people saying when they meet you over in the neighborhood you're going to represent? Yeah,
that's a good question. So at first, when I jumped in about a year ago, the age thing was definitely something that people brought up often. But I've been in this race for a year now. I mean, people have seen the work that I've been doing within the community, whether it's organizing food drives for our NYPD developments, whether it's responding to the needs of our homeowners. Right now, people are just excited about someone that is going to get the job done, someone that has energy, someone that is going to be on the ball when it comes to the solutions that our community truly needs, because the people that have been leading it in the past were not doing what the community really wanted them to do.
If elected, what are the main problems that you want to find solutions for? Like when it comes to your neighborhood, what are the key factors and what are the main things that you're going to tackle?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I would say the top two is one, affordable housing. We live in an oligarchy here in New York City. Our politicians are connected to some of these opportunistic, greedy developers that actively displace people within our communities and add to the gentrification. As someone that hasn't taken a dime from developers and has outraised every single person in my race, that will be something that I will be mitigating when I am the next council member of this district, so that we truly build affordable housing here in the 36th. And then two, I think this is a secondary issue for many people running for office, but the goddamn rat problem and the sanitation problem. You know, our sanitation department was defunded by $104 million last year. The New York State legislature just passed a $212 billion deal. Within my first 100 days in office, I'll be fighting for that funding so that the communities of Bed-Stuy and Crown Heights can be as clean as they would be in a Cobble Hill and a Park Slope.
The mayoral candidate, Catherine Garcia, who ran sanitation, that's one of the reasons she stepped down, right? Like because of the funding issue that sanitation was having.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that happened during a pandemic. I think people see it as such a secondary issue because we have issues like affordable housing and gun violence that exist within this community. But the next council member needs to take a more holistic approach to governing our communities, and keeping a clean community, whether it's the rat problem, the trash that's being picked up, adds to creating a thriving, healthy community. You know, it's not separate from the crime and the poverty that we live in here in the 36th. It's all interconnected.
The 36 chambers. So what city council, for those that may not quite understand, what exactly is the job? There's a lot of seats available on city council, like you said, governing your local community, but the job on a day-to-day when you get it, what is the job and what power do you have?
Right. So the city council is the legislative body of New York City. They put forward local laws. They regulate the city budget, which is extremely important because we live in one of the wealthiest cities in this country. They regulate land use, which is important as well in a community like mine, where we are in the middle of gentrification, and constituent services. You know, Joe Biden and the federal government is not going to add that speed bump to our street. You know, it's not going to fight for more trash bins at our corners. It's not going to tend to, I guess, the crime that happens in our community. Our city council member is the person that we reach out to, contact about those issues, is the first to answer those calls and to connect the pieces together within our city agencies to make sure that our community gets the resources that it truly deserves.
And so you spoke about affordable housing and the gentrification going on, which is not only going on in Brooklyn, it's going on all over the country where big real estate is coming in and taking land that has been traditionally black and brown neighborhoods, which the funding for those neighborhoods, whether it's redlining or unemployment that affects black and brown people, or access to capital and home loans, to improve housing or to improve, to get ownership to begin with. These things have always been challenges in America. And so here we are at another pivotal moment in this country where there's funding coming in from the federal government. There's recreational marijuana where there's going to be funding for that, and probably funding coming from that tax collection in maybe a year or more. How exactly are you going to go about making sure you slow down these big real estate developers coming in and displacing people? Like, how does that actually happen?
Absolutely. So when a developer is trying to build in a community such as mine, it has to go through a process called the ULURP process, which is the Uniform Land Use Review Procedure. If our city council member is tied to those developers, then we're not building affordable housing, because the developers mainly want to increase their profit within a district that is admirable like mine. The AMI, which is the average median income, is way too high for the people that truly live in this community. When affordable units are being built within this community, it ranges from $70,000 to $80,000, when the true AMI within this district is about $20,000 to $30,000. It will be my duty as the next council member to advocate to lower that AMI on the federal level, and also present legislation that uses a different calculator to find out what our livable wage is within our respective districts. If you have someone that's a millionaire, living in this district, it will obviously increase the average of what that AMI is. So it'll be up to the duty of me as the next council member of the 36 to make sure that we are lowering that AMI and making sure that it's truly affordable for people in the income bracket here in Bed-Stuy and Crown Heights.
And AMI stands for average median income, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. And so the other thing that we've been told frequently on this program is that AMI is so high around the city because they include counties like in Westchester and other areas that, are obviously very high income areas. And so if you live in Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy, and these areas that are a lower income, it throws the whole thing off. So have you had conversations with other people who are either in city council or planning to be in city council that also agree with this? Because we've been hearing, Laura and myself and Rosenberg been hearing about this for years, around this conversation of getting Westchester and counties where it just does not reflect what living in the boroughs is really all about.
Yeah. I mean, we are at a pivotal moment in New York City politics. This election, not only the mayoral race, but there are 35 out of 51 open city council seats. If we look at the past city council members that have been in office, again, there hasn't been as much of a focus on individuals running for office and the donors that they're tied to. We have a very developer-friendly city council right now. However, this turnover in the individuals and other candidates that are running for office, Tiffany Caban, who I did see you guys did just interview, are individuals that are going to be headstrong and finally put people over profits, so that we can lower that AMI, hopefully get Westchester out of that equation, and fight for affordable housing for our working class, for our unsheltered, for those that truly need it. I mean, again, we live in the wealthiest city in this country. There's no reason that people should be struggling to keep a roof over their heads or even have a roof over their head in the first place. We need people that are fighting for people rather than those that are trying to increase their profits every single year within every development that they build.
Go ahead, Laura.
I'm just curious, as a New Yorker, is there anybody right now who's running for mayor that you're a fan of?
Whomever the next mayor is, I will be holding them accountable for any of the actions that they enact when they are in office. I'm running to represent the people here in the 36th district. Our people have been dealt a poor hand for decades, and whomever the next mayor is, I will be holding accountable for whatever they do during their administration.
But you haven't chosen anybody yet. There's not somebody in particular that you are rooting for.
No, not in particular. But I'm really hoping that our city council is as progressive as I am, and I'm
Right.
hoping that I do not have a choice for mayor just yet.
What about a top 5?
I don't even
Since
have
it's ranked choice, since we're ranking choice.
Wait, when voting for city council, it's also ranked, right? We're doing ranked choice voting all around.
Yes, we do have ranked choice voting in city council as well.
Okay.
Chi, since you're still very close to it, being recently graduating college and everything that you worked academically to do, representing the young people of the District 36, do you spend time talking to the 18 to 24-year-olds, that college crowd that lives in District 36, and what their priorities and interests are? And as a city council member, is there a way for you to affect those, summer jobs, vocational jobs, learning a trade? Is that something a city council member can affect?
Absolutely. So I would say my answer would be in 2-part. There's a large young population here in the 36 that are freelancers, artists, creatives, musicians. 33% of the working body in Brooklyn is freelancers. Yet when we talk about relief and help for small businesses, we tend to leave out our freelancers because they're not brick and mortar or traditional small businesses. My office will be working on presenting an arm that will work for young individuals that work in the creative field. We've helped put forward open culture locations here in the district to our current council member to give job opportunities to our local musicians and artists during this summer, especially with COVID. We also want to work with our small businesses here in the district, as well as our corridors, to make sure that we're connecting them with our young freelancers, whether it's for murals, designing their shops, anything of that sort, and connecting those pieces of both our young and residential and older small businesses and giving job opportunities to our younger people. In terms of SYEP and job opportunities for our young people, I will be expanding SYEP. I'm hoping that as we're getting out of this hump of COVID, that more job opportunities will open. I'm presenting the first small business MWBE council here in the 36th district. That will be a resource center for both internships and jobs to our young people that will help them learn about the trades of small businesses and how to run your own business, as well as entrepreneurship. And I'm really excited about that.
SYEP, Summer Youth Employment Program?
Yes.
You be throwing out these acronyms like everybody knows.
Right? I've been in this the chasm of politics and municipal government for, I guess, a year now, and I forget that people don't know. The rest
of us live out here outside. We're outside the bubble, man. You got to talk to us regular.
It's important so we know what's happening. But yeah, because I know that summer youth programs are so important.
Yeah.
And that those are some of the first things that get cut all the time.
Right.
It's always an issue.
And then everybody's upset because kids are out doing mischief or getting involved in gang violence and getting guns in their hand and try to find some money.
Yeah, I mean, and another thing I want to do is work closely with the Department of Education on changing some curriculum where we are implementing more civics classes. Again, it's crazy that the United States is the world's biggest democracy, and we impose democracy on every country in this world, yet many people don't know who their local electeds are, or who their state assembly person is, or who their state senator is. We need to get young people engaged in politics. We need to have our local electeds offer opportunities for those young people so that we can get more people engaged in municipal government, because that's where it really matters, right?
Absolutely. You work and are a representative of the LGBTQ plus community. And recently it came out a few weeks ago that the Pride Parade banned the NYPD from participating and supporting the parade. That was like a few weeks ago. Fast forward to just over the weekend, the NYPD out of control down at Washington Square Park. Imposing a 10 p.m. curfew that was midnight. Now it's 10 p.m. And then they were like riot gear. Talk, because you've been in the streets and you've been at the protests, and you are very active. We continue to hear the NYPD, at least the commissioner, talk about wanting to have a better relationship with the community. I'm sure in this new political role, you are figuring out ways to make improvements while also still enforcing accountability. Tell us what's going on, what you're hearing and seeing in the streets with regard to the NYPD the way the LGBTQ plus community feels about the NYPD, and also, you know, what you would like to do immediately if you get this job.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, no cops at Pride. People had a lot to say about that, but then we saw this past weekend at Washington Square Park, a young trans protester, Joel Rivera, was arrested and hurt by these same police that people are still annoyed that we don't want at Pride. Cops don't keep us safe. I mean, if you look at what parks are for here in New York City, people are mainly in their apartments. Parks are a way where we can escape those apartments, get out into fresh air, and now we're being policed in public spaces here in New York City. I think there's this false narrative that police keep us safe, yet they only show up after crimes happen, or they're only policing us when we are exercising our rights to be in a park. When I talk about this divest movement or defund movement, I think the right has done a really good job at flipping that on its head. I think many people in a community such as mine, where gun violence does exist, are scared because they think that that means we're getting rid of old cops, which is not the case. The answer to gun violence and crime year after year after year in communities such as mine has always been more police, more police, more police. And that's why the budget continues to grow, on top of the fact that our police unions lobby within our city government. I believe that's a racist narrative. I think when we look at why people commit crimes and why crime has risen, it's poverty. You know, either people do not have the resources and money to put food on their table, have a roof over their heads, or money in their pockets. We need to fund our underfunded agencies within this city and within communities such as mine to give people other options rather than resorting to crime. Whether it's our schools or public housing, healthcare, infrastructure, food justice, jobs, these are the things that people need in order to survive and thrive rather than resorting to crime. If you look at that video of what happened in Washington Square Park, you can see that the NYPD, our mayor, took no accountability for anything that happened this past year. The fact that they're doing the same stuff a year later and not being held accountable is absolutely ridiculous. We need our next electeds to really put forward legislation, divest for some of their budget and reinvest into things that truly matter so that we can heal our city. One last thing, but the riot gear for one of those cops costs about $900 to police people for hanging out in a park. A teacher at a public school here in our city receives $250 for the year to pay for school supplies in their schools. Let's take a look at those statistics and realize where do our what matters more. I think educating our kids and giving them the resources they deserve truly matters more than arresting and maiming trans and LGBTQ folk for frolicking in a public park.
Ossé, District 36. Look him up, Ossé 2021 on IG. I got that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. And people can still donate, and early voting is about to start, right?
Yes. Don't donate to my campaign. We've hit the fundraising max. We've actually outraised every single one of our competitors, 100% grassroots. But volunteer, come out here, vote. You can go to ossé2021.com/volunteer. Go to ossé2021.com/vote to see where your polling location is, and please vote for the future of our city.
Let's go, Chi. Proud of you, bro.
Amazing.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, man. Keep making everybody so happy for you and so proud of you, brother. Keep going.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you for having me on today.
Of course, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.